This is Ascension of the Chessmen, Episode 1. Very rough take. So I've been wanting to start a podcast for many years now, not realizing I could do this all on my phone. I thought I needed all these tools and audio tools and microphones and nice laptop, and here I am. So what inspired the name, you may ask? Ascension of the Chessmen was a name I've thought of many years ago, and it always stuck with me. And it's the belief that the entities or people, whatever you want to call them, the elites, the cabal, the lizard people, the people running the show, they play the game of chess. It's not checkers. So you can either be a pawn on the front lines doing their dirty deeds, working for them, not for yourself, and empowering humanity and making the world a better place. You can just play in their game. Or you can ascend above that game of chess and create your own path, create your own life, chase your own dreams. Don't sell yourself out. So that's kind of what inspired the name. I originally wanted to do it with a couple buddies of mine. Big Tut, shout out. He raps now, and he's doing big things. Started his own brand. I respect it. But he was one of the first people that really helped me on my path. I'd say I woke up from this illusion we live in around 2011, 2012, into the Illuminati, conspiracy theories, what have you. And it's frightening at first, it's overwhelming. It'll take you by storm. But over time I learned, you can't live in fear. That's only adding to the problem. That's what they want, what the elites, as I said before, all those different names for whoever they are. They live, as Roddy Piper played in the movie. He was a rebel to their chess game. And so yeah, I had woken up in 2011, 2012 and said, holy shit, the world's not what I thought it was. It's not here to just, watch sports and make endless amounts of money and chase girls. There's more to life than all these material things. And that kind of led me to a path to getting closer to God or a higher power. At that time, it was Christianity that took me in, and I had been a Catholic, and before that, I was baptized Lutheran as a baby, and then my family, we started going to I can't even think of the name of the church. It was definitely a Christian denomination. So after that church, it was Catholicism, which my mother grew up in a big Catholic family, oldest of 9 kids, and so I've lived many different types of Christianity, but the ones I was a part of were mainly very very boring and blah, not much excitement in the services. And so as I had gotten into conspiracies and thought the world was run by Satanists and very wicked people, what's the opposite of Satan? It's Jesus under the Christian dogma and the Christian religion. And so yeah, I had gotten into psychedelics at the time, and that opened my mind and my soul in other ways. And it's psychedelics scared me at first, just like conspiracies. And you have bad trips based on what you're taking in and what your mind state's like. So if you're constantly taking in negative stuff, you're gonna have a negative experience for the most part in life, and also in a psychedelic state under the influence of any plant medicine, But for me, it was the conspiracies that drew me back to religion, because Catholicism had kind of, I'd had my wits with that, and I always found it strange telling my secrets to a priest. I had many different things that took me away from Catholicism, and I never truly bought into it. But my brother's still a diehard Catholic. My mom, she's no longer Catholic, and my dad is no longer Catholic. So I had been looking into what would be the best church for somebody like me, had gotten into conspiracies, and learned that all churches basically are owned by the state, and they're 501c3s. They have to be registered with the state. Just like, we have our social security numbers. We're basically a bond on the stock market, in a sense. And this is crazy to the normies, people would call them. People know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Sorry, I lose my train of thought a lot. So I'm going to be skipping around all over the place. So what was I talking about? So when I had this was right before 2012, when I started, getting into the fear of conspiracies and all the dark shit you see, what's going on right in front of your eyes, and you've been lied to since birth, and your parents have been lied to, and your grandpas and grandmas have been lied to, and so on and so forth. And it's all just been a game, and these bloodlines have been passing it down from generation to generation, like keeping the same power from generation to generation in the same families, the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, these rich elite families, and even beyond that, the black nobility, the Jesuits. And so yeah, I had gotten away from Catholicism. I can go into that further later about all my bad experiences within Catholicism, but I was fearing the end times, December 21st, 2012. That was, my Y2K for those older than me. I saw the world in a literal sense, like the world is going to end on this day, not realizing that it was the end of an age, and we're moving into a new age. Welcome to the new age, as Radioactive would say, or as Imagine Dragons would say. So yeah, I had decided, I need to get closer with God. I started reading the Bible more. So I Googled the 501c3 stuff, and I learned that a small church out of a house would be the best thing for me. That was the least cultish and more personal, like you're looking at your family just talking at the dinner table, like being able to be honest in yourself without judgment and hate and envy and all the baggage that, cultish big religions carry, and big mega churches. And so I was looking for a small house church, basically, like a small group that gathered in a house and worshiped God, And I did a quick Google search. We have Google at our fingertips these days, and I Googled house church Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where I'm from, guys. Go Big Red. But yeah, I Googled house church Lincoln, Nebraska. So the Potter's House came up, and I looked at it. I was interested in, just trying something out. I went to a big Berean church because I was in this phase of I need to find the right church for me. So I tried the Berean church and I liked it. It was like a big concert service. It was a lot more excitement than what I was used to. It had the feeling of a mega church and attracted the rich. And to me, when I say non-judgment and all this stuff, I think a homeless man should be welcomed with open arms in any church that's worshiping God or a higher power, or, the all-seeing good, the all good, the Creator, And a lot of churches don't give up that vibe, You feel like you got to be working on Wall Street to go walk into a church, Nice suit and nice shoes, and you're not really able to be yourself. You're like a cog in the machine. You're just, another drone on the assembly line. You're not yourself, And I wanted to be myself and be able to worship God with other people that could be themselves. So I checked out the Potter's House, even though it really wasn't a house church. But I was like, you know what? What could it hurt to try it out? I looked at their website. I liked the story of the pastor that led the church. Shout out to Pastor Phil. He was a recovering drug addict. He smoked a lot of weed, which I enjoy. He did a lot of psychedelics. I think he got into cocaine too, but he was basically living in a trap house in a rough area in Michigan. And inner city, and he was in a bad place. And what led him to God was a trip on acid. What led him to be a pastor, I should say, but essentially God, a higher power. What led him to get out of that dysfunction and negativity that he was around, he had an acid trip where a chessboard flew off the table. I don't know if they were getting rowdy or whatever. I remember bits and pieces of the story, but I got the message. And so this chess table flew off the table and all the pieces went flying. And the only piece that was left on the board was a white king. And that was symbolic to him, and obviously changed his life. Now, was it the acid that did that? Was it something beyond the acid, a supernatural power? Who knows? But that's what led him to God and being a pastor. And I really grew close to him because I could relate to him, and I never really had a role model like that was like an older version of myself and what I was seeking in life. And that's how I joined my first church as a conspiracy theorist interested person and trying to learn more about the truth. And that's my first episode, guys. I'll be back to finish.